Hi guys, welcome to the webinar today. We are just letting some more people in and joining the call, and then we will get started. We have a great webinar for you today, especially for anyone who's looking to learn more about getting on the retail shelves or has any questions about anything to do with distribution or how it works and how to get into those meetings and come out with positive outcomes. This is definitely the webinar for you. So we might just kick off. I'm just going to introduce you to Jackie. You'll come on now. And she'll turn. So Jackie is the Business Development Director at Uniphar. Thank you for joining us today, Jackie.
How are you doing, Wendy? And hello, everybody who joined today.
Yeah, we are delighted to have you. So what we'll do is we'll kick off. I'm just going to do a very short presentation on Beauty Buddy and just how that works, and in conjunction with retail. And sorry, I'm actually just admitting people here as well. All right, so for those of you that don't know who I am, my name is Wendy Slattery. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Beauty Buddy. Beauty Buddy is a community of beauty consumers that we work with brands to do consumer-generated content, market research, and new product development. So this is our beauty squad. So anyone you see there has actually worked with Beauty Buddy and tested products and reviewed products and done content. So the problem that we felt that we were solving for brands was that continuous trying to get content that you can use on your social media platforms and being able to use content in ads and different things like that. So we have developed a service, continuous content, and basically you are able to have products sent out every month and content created and shared on social media platforms by authentic consumers, authentic content, not scripted, and they will also do written reviews. So it takes a bit of pressure away from the marketing team, but it also helps with a massive brand awareness, and you also get to use that content in your campaigns and different pieces like that. So as part of Beauty Buddy, we work with a lot of brands that are in retail, but also a lot of brands that are direct to consumer at the moment. And the questions are always the same, of just, about distribution, about retail, about how do you get on the shelves and all of that. And I am fortunate enough to know Jackie, and she's an absolute powerhouse when it comes to this industry. So there is, just so you know, there is a Q&A. So we would ask you to put all your questions. If you see in the bottom right hand of your screen, you will see a box of 9 dots, and you will be able to see in there that you can ask a question. There's a Q&A there, just so we'd be able to keep track of it. Please put your questions in as soon as you have them, and Jackie will answer them all at the end. We are going to kick off with Jackie doing a little presentation on Uniphar Brand Partners and explaining the distribution side, and then we will take all your questions. So I'm just going to share Jackie's presentation for you now. I'm just sorry. So bear with us now, and I'll let Jackie take the floor now.
So good afternoon all. While Wendy is bringing that up, I'll just do a quick intro in here. So I work for Uniphar Brand Partners. At the moment, Uniphar is, you probably all know, this is a huge name for distribution and medical wholesale in Ireland. They also have a retail arm of pharmacies that reach out over 200 plus stores, and a franchise model that reach out over 300 plus stores. So apart from the distribution, the retail is inherent in everything what they do. So that's why Uniphar Brand Partners is such a strong distribution agency, because we don't just come up from the distribution side, we come up with all the knowledge of retail too, because we can see what's happening firsthand in the retail market. So Wendy, if you just go on to the next slide there, that just shows you some of the brands we represent at the moment.
I am just going to reshare that. I didn't know whether it was on the full screen for you or Jackie, so hang on 2 seconds.
So we work with some major brands in Ireland, some big international brands down to some very much Irish only brands. So if you're looking from the international market, we have brands like Dr. Scholl, we have Bioderma, we're big international brands that we are the distributor, the sole distributor for in Ireland. That means we just where you see that product, we're responsible for distributing it. Then we work with Irish brands like Sasta, Vico, and Nutri. And it's the same type of thing. They're very much Irish and local, but again, we're responsible for bringing them to every retailer that you see them there. This is very much, and the partnership is really what it's all about. This is not just where they drop the boxes at the back door and we send the boxes to the shops that they're going to. This is very much about a partnership where we sit down with these brands with the knowledge that we can bring from what's happening in the market, what retail needs to activate something. So it's not only about getting on the shelf for the first time, it's about staying on the shelf. And this is where having a good distributor and a good partner comes into play. So you can see there's a huge amount of brands that we service there, and one of them being our own brand. So Aya is our own VMS brand. So because we have an own brand, we are in what it takes to survive in retail every single day, because we have to do it for our own brand. So let's just give an overview. So we have a huge knowledge of distribution and the retail market. So about Uniphar Brand Partners, we're a retail powerhouse. So we have direct access to Ireland's largest pharmacy network, 445 of our own pharmacies, but we deliver, and this is the key thing, we deliver to over 1,900 pharmacies twice a day. So on a distribution level, there isn't another distributor on the Ireland that would have the outreach that we would and deliver twice a day. So that's nationwide delivery with a state-of-the-art logistics warehouse, and we were building, and every year we seem to build a new warehouse. That is one up on the year before, because this type of thing, it moves so quickly, and efficiency is really, really key in this. Within our side of the business, we have 22 specialists across sales, category management, and marketing and operations. So that means that every point of your journey, we have an expert to sit down and work out, okay, what does it need? What does your product need to get done to where it needs to be? Does it need on-the-ground sales training? Do you need somebody who's specially to tie in with you on marketing, because that's where you're weak? Do you need somebody to go into stores and make sure your self-presence is correct? Or you could have that, but we're able to offer services tailored to wherever your needs are, from marketing to store operations and sales. We have insights, because we said we have our own retail arm. We have inside information every day, what's selling, what products are selling, what campaigns customers are reacting to, what new products are landing really, really well, what's going slow in the market, because we have 45 stores giving us information every single day on every single product in every single category. This gives us a huge insight into the market. So we're saying to you, listen, what we're seeing working, people aren't responding for 3 for 2 anymore. They're preferring buy one, get one half price. It's because we can see these insights directly from market. And there's little things in that, believe it or not, there's things as simple as that can really, really make a promotion work or not work. It's the message. So people are not in the frame of mind. What we can see when money is tight, people really don't like 3 for 2 because they feel like you're forcing them in to buy extra product. So you can come back and do something simple as buy one, get one half price. And that model would work. But it's those simple insights that really can make a difference to what you do. Sales and distribution, end-to-end management. So from And this is not just from when it lands in the door here. We do the managing. So before the product even comes into our warehouse, we sit down and we will work out. And this is a key thing, that you have a really good trade and marketing plan. So we'll sit down with you and we'll work out a really good trade and marketing plan, what's supported by a PR plan and all the socials. We tie that all together. So by the time the product gets to our door, all it should be doing when it gets to our door is coming in and going out to customers waiting for it, because we do so much work beforehand to get the goods pre-sold. So it's just what you want is that flow. It comes in the door, goes out the door. So that's the ideal position, and that's what we do. And then obviously we do separate marketing and activation. You will see a lot of brands going into stores, and we're doing big events with stores. We organize training days. We do wellness events. So depending on the type of product, so it's end to end. So what you want in a good distribution partner is, it's not just somebody who drops the boxes, come at the back door, and then until your next order is come, the communication. We work with a brand from before they get to even launch the product. Everybody's aligned, and that's what Uniphar Brand Partner does. So if you want to, So again, we have the largest owned pharmacy network in Ireland. We're a faster, more efficient retail penetration with a full 360 support from logistics to marketing, and have a proven track record. So, and there are our own pharmacies. So all those pharmacies sit under the Uniphar group, and that's where we can put all our instant data and sales information from. So that's a little bit about Uniphar Brand Partners. And our line is, look, we know brands, we grow brands. And after this call, if anybody wants to reach out to me, my email is there. There's anything else, so you can see it there after this call. If anybody's out there who's just about to launch a product, would like a little bit more information, or think they have something that's really interesting, the email is there for after the call.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Jackie. So what we're going to do now is a little bit of an interview style and Q&A with Jackie, and find out a little bit more of the questions that we have received already in. So first of all, you never told us a little bit of your own background in the journey of the world of distribution and retail.
So I'm over 35 years in retail and buying in one way or the other. I started off, believe it or not, on a market stall in Henry Street over 35 plus years ago. I'm not going into the plus. Over 35 plus years ago on a market stall. And very simply, I worked a Saturday job in a market stall. They went really well. The people actually ended up buying two shops in one of the Ilex Centre, when the Ilex Centre was the only shopping centre really in Ireland, when it was a big thing, and one on Henry Street. And I started buying when I was 18, going back and forward to Manchester on buying trips for that. Then I worked my way up I did more retail experience with Aware. From Aware, then I went into Penneys buying office. From Penneys buying office, I was the buyer for the bestseller group, which would be Vera Moda, Jack and Jones, Exif for 10 years. And then I moved to Heatons as a ladies' wear buyer, and I moved up into the director position, director of trade and marketing for Heatons. I was there for 16 years. Under that time, I bought everything from ladies' footwear, ladies' clothing, children's clothing, homewares, everything you name it. So spoons, everything. I would have bought everything at one stage. And then from there, I moved to McCauley's, where I became the director of trade and marketing. So you were involved in the buying, but you were also very much involved in the trading part of it, because you had 40 stores looking to you to say, okay, how do I trade this product? So where we would sit and we would work with brands, the best way to trade it. McCauley's would have launched brands to the market, exclusive to the Irish market, would have worked very closely with small Irish brands and grow them into like really, really big brands. I remember Amy launching in pharmacy. She had one product. So Sculpted by Amy launched with one product, and you will see the powerhouse that she is today. And another one of those brands would be the Smooth Company, which is still exclusive to McCauley's, and again, a huge brand within it. So we launched some really, really big brands within that. So over the last 35 years, in one way or another, I've either made product, sold product, or had to figure out how to get retailers to sell the product. So that's what I've been doing over the last 35 years.
Yeah. What has drawn you though? Because I know how passionate you are about the beauty, health and wellness space now. I know you've done all the rest and the buying of everything. But you have such a passion around the beauty, health, and wellness.
Really, one, I love the fast pacedness of it. Like this, if anybody who's in this space, you know, there's new developments every day. There's new innovation in this every day. But apart from that, I love a product that really makes a difference.
Yeah.
Like I really, really love when somebody comes to me with a product and you can really say, oh my God, I can see how that product, how does a market with it and how it makes a difference. And then I love when you work with a brand and you see something starting so small and it turns into something so big, and you see how much the brand comes on the journey, how much the retailer buys into the product, and then how much the customer is loving the product. I said the happiest day is when somebody said, oh my God, we've just had a phone call, say from Dunn's, and they want to list this little baby product that we took on as a little baby. And then you have a big multi all Ireland retailer knocking at the door saying, please, can we have this product? There's no better feeling. Like it's nearly like it's my product. That's how close you feel to it. But it is, I think when you fall in love with a product, it just comes out in everything you do. And I'm a natural shopper. So that comes in. I like shopping myself. So that the curiosity is always there.
Brilliant. And when you are evaluating a new brand, what are the top 3 things that you look for right away?
So first is the product quality. Right, like somebody's coming to you with something, and I'll always ask to see a sample, right? Because pictures are lovely. The product quality. So one, ingredients. What ingredients are in it, and then how is it packaged? Because how many times I've seen a lovely idea ruined by poor packaging. So and to send somebody back to the board saying, listen, your packaging is not good. It's 6 months. That's 8 months. Can be 10 months down the line before they're ready to go again. So definitely you'd have to say the product quality. Second, commercial viability, right? Have they really done their homework? I have seen people saying to me, I have this skin product here, and I'd say, okay, it's very nice. How much is it really at? 110 euros. I'm like, well, do you understand, for 110 euros, the people that you're appealing to, the market is very, very small, and you need to know your competitor set really, really the understanding of why is this 110 euros? If it's 110 euros, you're competing with huge brands, and you need to be, why would somebody move from that brand to your brand? So to really, really understand the commercial viability of their product, and also do they understand what it takes commercially to bring something to market. So it's not just I've developed this product and I've worked out and it cost me 5 euros. Have you factored in the supplier will want 3 promotions a year? Have you factored in that the supplier will probably ask you to do some POS around this product? And all these things are costs that you need to factor into the cost of your product. So many times we've seen that, and I said, okay, but the store is looking for POS and they're looking to use the support. And on average, any of the big retailer groups, we will look for a brand to support at least 3 times a year with at least 20% off. So you need to figure it's 3 times a year, you do not get that full margin in your product. What you're hoping for is that you sell more of it, so you make up the money, but you need to factor all these type of things into your costs. And so people have come to us and have no understanding of that market. You see that's where they falter, and they're back to the drawing board again, trying to figure out their costs. And then thirdly is the brand story. Right? Do the brand know what they're about? Can the brand tell me in 5 sentences about their product? Because if they can't communicate that in 5 sentences, you nearly always find it's very hard for them to get that message across to the customer. And we are all so like information heavy at the moment, like from TikTok to Instagram to Facebook to ads appeared. If you're playing Scrabble, ads appeared and everything. So you need to be so sure of your story that you're able to tell it in seconds. So all those 3 things together make a brand ready. If one of them things doesn't work, you're back to the drawing board and you're talking 6. You could have missed a window. You could have missed your window.
And what makes a brand? I know we've just said that, like, kind of top 3 things that you're looking for, but for you, what is the standout of the brand? Is it them having all of that in a row? And how does a brand even know that they have to have all of that in a row? So what is the positive, and what is the most negative thing you've seen of a brand coming to you as well?
I think it's definitely the most positive, a brand that has a clear identity of who they are.
Yeah.
Who they are and their competitor set, and why their product should So basically, this is why I always say to make it very easy, right? When you walk into stores, you very rarely see empty shelves. Most stores, be a pharmacy, grocery, Brown Thomas, Arnott's, nobody's sitting there with empty shelves. So to put a new product on a shelf, more than likely, an old product is coming off. And you have to think about it. So why? You have to give me the why. Why am I moving something out to put your product on? So that needs to be, that's the biggest positivity any brand can come. They've done their homework. They know why their product is better than the other 4 products out there, be it a value proposition, be it on ingredients, whatever it is, or the story, they know why. It could be because it's cheap. It could be simply as that. It could be, or it could be that it's the ingredients are cleaner or whatever what it is, but they know why. So that's first and foremost the biggest thing that any brand needs to have. Negatively is when a brand is it's probably trying to do everything to everybody, and having a very much a scattergun approach, and they jump on whatever the latest trend is. Oh, well, I've seen this trending on TikTok, so I'll do this month, and then next month they do another thing. So nobody ever gets a true sense of who that brand is.
Yeah.
And especially if you're only trying to launch one product and get in and get out, I have one product, that's fine. Buy the latest trend, get as much as you can out of it. But if you're trying to build a brand that in 10 years time, if somebody, like, if you take it, if you say Nike, if I say McDonald's, if I say whatever, in 3 words, you can sum up those brands. Ideally, that's what everybody will be trying to get to. That when I say your name to you, a brand's name to you, a vision comes straight into your head. And that's what you want. That's what you're aiming for all the time.
Yeah, and I suppose we've already covered a little bit about the importance of the story, but how important is the founder story?
So the founder story is becoming more and more important. And look, it doesn't suit everybody. I think if I was a founder, I'd rather be the face behind the brand. But where you're a founder that's quite comfortable being forward, the reason why you did something is usually impossible. If you look at all the brands that are winning at the moment, they're nearly all founder-led, especially in Ireland. And the female founder-led brand Ireland is absolutely exploding. Like, you could sit here, I think one of the best one, it would be Denise and Curly Co. Like, if you look at her founder story, she's a head of curly hair, right? She's sending me products for curly hair. She is a hairdresser. She goes into her salon every day. She shows me how those products work. Huge sense in customers trusting what she does, and therefore transferring that to, I'll buy that product. The same with, if I was to go with the Smooth Stick. Anya lives her brand every single day. She's very good at inviting people in behind the scenes. She looks like she uses a smooth stick. It all makes relevant to why they're selling that product. So it can be a huge help to grow the brand and to cement the brand, that trust with your customer. But more and more we're seeing that the people are going, because it also looks more organic. Yes. And I think that's the real key behind it. It looks more organic. You have the big polished brands, and yes, they work, but most of those big polished brands are so long established. Yeah. You don't really have to get you to buy into their story. Like, they're already established, so you're only buying into the newness from that brand. But I think especially when you're a new brand starting off, the founder story, the who you are, what drove you to produce this product, and how you do that battle every day is a huge part of the story of conversion.
And would that be like something that you would take obviously into consideration before you take on a brand? Is it important?
It would be important. Now, if somebody came with an absolutely amazing product and they weren't, look, I'm not comfortable to drive the brand, you would sit down and say to them, okay, then, well, let's work with who can. So it wouldn't be an absolute no if somebody didn't want to be there, and I completely understand it. But if I'm sitting down with somebody and the passion for their product is pouring out of them, oh my God, yes, I'm saying, well, listen, if I'm getting this feels from you across the table, I'm going to assume that anybody else listening to you will be the same. So it's a huge positive.
Yeah. And I know from knowing you how much you are about your packaging, right?
Yeah.
What the role of the packaging and visual presentation for the shelf readiness is. And I feel that a lot of, by the time brands arrive to distributors, sometimes they haven't taken on any advice before that, and when they arrive, there's tends to be something missing from their packaging, whether that's, you know, that needs to be there legally, or just the wrong vibe or whatever from it, even though they don't see that. Do you think?
So there's obviously, so branding, I probably to me impact. So there's packaging and there's branding. And that's when people kind of get mixed up between they think that their box is their branding.
Yes.
The box contains your branding. Like your branding goes onto your box. Right. So it's different things. So there's definitely things you have to have logistically, where we see all the time. And we'd have brands coming to us that say, oh, I wanted this product and I want to do a GWP. Right. And GWP is a gift for purchase. And I would say to them, okay, so what's the gift for purchase? And they'd say to me, oh, it's a hairband. And I'm like, well, how does a hairband sit on the shelf in the store? And they're like, oh, I don't know. And I'm like, well, that's not, it works great for, and like we see it a lot when brands are transitioning from their own online e-com site, where they can just put a picture up of the hairband and say, buy this hair product and get this free hairband. And that works. But that does not translate to shelves, because it doesn't stand on the shelf. It doesn't sit on the shelf. It looks messy. So packaging is huge. Even the simple things of I don't love a white box, because I'm like, you need to think of end use. If you have a white box, people are and it's a makeup product. People pick this up 10 times, and more than likely they've done a little bit of a tester, and your box is going to get filthy. So your packaging, you really have to think the certain logistical things that you have to have. It has to be able to stand on the shelf on its own free will and of accord. It has to have obviously the barcodes in a place that can be used. A lot of stores don't really price goods individually anymore. They put a little thing, so the price, I wouldn't be printing prices onto it. And then you have to have by law whatever ingredients or certs that you need to have on it as well. But other than that, you need to think of the end user. If a customer has to pick up your package and start reading around the sides of it to try to figure out what this product is doing, then you've already lost them on the journey. I should be able to see what the product does and what it's for within seconds.
Yes.
Within seconds. But the most things that we see is people don't take into account, and this is where the extra costs kill a brand. So when you're dealing with retailers such as pharmacies, they really don't want things delivered to them. They would prefer them in boxes of 3s, but the most they will take out in it is boxes in 6. And what I'm finding with brands is they go and they order from their manufacturer, and it comes into them in boxes of thousands. And I'm like, I can't take that from you. I need that now, you to go and get that into inner cases of 6. And I'm finding there, say if it's coming from Italy or it's coming from China, they're having to rework it here in Ireland. Costs are phenomenal.
Okay.
Costs are phenomenal. So it's not only the packaging that the box comes into, it's also the outer packaging that you need to consider as well. Nobody really wants, like if you think about it here, like if I'm going to pharmacies, nobody wants to take in more stock and put it into the back room. So you need to consider your inner cases as well as your outer cases. So there's a whole journey with packaging, and you really are better sitting down and talking with somebody before you go off and decide all on this on your own to make sure, because it's a very costly mistake to recover.
Yeah, absolutely. And this, I suppose, where how much weight do you put on your brand, the brand's digital presence and the social proof? And I think that's...
So what you can see now is back in the day when there was no social, and yes, I was buying product when there was no social media. Like, how did people buy ad without social media? But now, the minute I show, if I'm sitting in front of a buying group, and we sit in front of buying groups every day, so the buyer will sit in front of you and I'd say, okay, here's brand A, look at brand A. The first thing everybody does is go straight onto Instagram. It's the first thing everybody does is they'll go onto Instagram, they'll pull up the brand on Instagram, and they will say to me, oh, I really, really like how the brand is telling their story, or they don't like how the brand is telling the story, or they'll say, but this brand only has 80 followers, and until they get up to a certain amount of followers, I don't think it's worth my while taking something off the shelf for this brand. So it actually has a huge impact on getting into retail. Because that's the first place buyers go to. It's like we all do. If I said you something, we check it on Instagram, but it's the first place somebody will go to get a sense of you. So it is very important that what you are putting up there, because that's where people go to see, okay, how is this brand telling this story about themselves? How is this brand interacting with their customers? What is this brand doing to get their message out there? And it doesn't fit in with apart from the product, does how this brand speaks fit in with ethos of whatever store group or wherever they are, which is really important as well.
Yeah. And I suppose, and that's how I suppose we've connected at the start, is because of Beauty Buddy doing the authentic content. And that's,
Yes.
for us, it's, not scripted, authentic. It's the consumer, that you get to see somebody who looks like you using the product and reviewing the product.
And the recommendations, the truthful recommendations, that all feeds into it. Yeah.
It all feeds into the online presence. How do you, I suppose we have some question there, just actually might take a question. So at what stage should a brand start preparing for retail versus just e-commerce? So when do you think they're
So I think what the brand needs to define for us is, what do they mean by retail? So, and who is their channel? So are they looking to get into pharmacy? Are they looking to get into department store? Or are they looking to get into grocery? So they really need to determine, who is the market that I want to get in front of, right? And then they need to have a good awareness, like I was saying, of what it takes to survive in those markets. So if you're a brand and you're saying, look, what I really, really want is, I really want to get listed in grocery, right? And that's what you think, because it's high volume, then you want to be prepared to be given a 50% plus margin. So you really want to know what channel that you're going into, and be what you can do to drive that. So can I, in most retailers, support on promotions? Am I able to support with training? Do I have POS kits if they wanted to something? And am I able to do social content? And this is one thing, they will want content from you constantly to drive the brand. Most retailers work off a monthly plan, so every month they have a different voice they talk about. So obviously this weekend will be all Father's Day, just because that's coming in. So if you had a product that would sit under the Father's Day gifting, they'd be looking for you to say, can I have new assets around that product? So you have to constantly, are you able to upkeep with this constant need to feed like that? So there's some key, it's not just the product arrives, here I have 10 boxes of this, can I get it onto a shelf? This is a long time partnership, and are you able to commit to that and support to that?
Yeah.
So you really be really clear on what channel that you're going to go to, and then very much open to what it takes to drive that.
And Sunil is here. I met Sunil in the UK. She has a fabulous silk brand. It's silk products, not silk the material, sorry, it's silk. But she's like, if I am pre-production and pre-launch, but have strong concept formulation, branding, user trials, problem solution and IP in place, do you work with brands at this stage, like launching into pharmacy first? Rather than
we can work with brands that way if we would think that it is worthwhile. So to take on a brand at that level, you are looking that you need the marketing team involved, you need the logistic teams involved, you need really strong sales team behind you as well, because there's a lot of selling, a lot of knowledge to do on that. So we can work with brands on like that if we think that over a certain, say, 3-year period, the return will be such and such and such and such. But it is a higher investment, so you would be looking that you would be paying for, like, you're paying for services there for a brand to work with you, because they're going to do a lot of the heavy lifting with you. But it is possible, yes. We have worked with brands that are pre-launch and we have brought them to fruition. But it is heavy lifting and a lot of people working in partnership together.
Yeah. Like, and as you said, it's nearly a full service. It's like
it is a full service, so there's costs involved with that, because you're leaning on, I have to train the sales team here, and then the sales team there have to go out and train all the stores on the reason why to launch this product. And at the same thing, just keep this fundament. Everybody needs to keep this fundament in their mind. There is no empty shelf.
Yes.
Give me the reason to get your shelf on product, and then we work together to make it stay there.
Yeah, absolutely. I know Sunil has won a huge amount of awards for her silk, which is the first one that I had ever met at the time that was doing the silk.
And then also, if you had a brand that has a really strong e-commerce presence,
yeah,
the fact that you have is, like, if you can come to somebody and say, listen, I'm doing, I don't know, 100,000 a year, 150,000 a year on my own site, that proves that you have a customer there. So then it's a lot easier to work with it. If you already have it up and running and a presence, it's then a lot easier then to transfer that presence into big bricks and mortar.
Okay, brilliant. And then we have Jackie from Made of More. They're a premium skincare brand trading mainly direct to consumer in the UK. They're constantly getting asked about a launch in Ireland. Whenever they try to send products to Ireland, they have customs issues. And also the other one was, what sort of price points do you look for?
Again, it depends on it. In general, look at pharmacy in general. There are a few pharmacies that sell premium skincare, right? But there are few pharmacies. In general, you're talking about that mid-price range that suits everybody best. So you're probably talking from like, if I wanted to put it to somebody, that Ella and Joe price range, just so everybody can reference against it. So that's the price range that we see that has the most conversion in the everyday market.
Is that like around 30 to 40?
Say 35, I think 40 would be the premium, because once you come out at that €40 price point, you are now into Clarins, Lancome. You're now into the space where somebody could pick up a Clarins or a Lancome product and look at your product and say, well, here's a known brand that's charging me €40, and here's an unknown brand that's charging me €40. And 9 times out of 10, the conversion goes towards the bigger brand because they've done so much work and they have the body behind it. So you do need to be, again, though, it's all based on the marketing campaign that you have done around your product. So that supports that premium higher price point. So if you're going out there with a premium higher price point, you want a really, really strong marketing campaign to somebody say, well, why am I paying €60 for this? Versus there's 10 brands that seems to be the same ingredients and I can get for $24.99.
Yeah.
So you just need to be really, 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 really tight on the why.
Yes.
But there is a market for it, but there's a smaller market as you move up in pharmacy anyway on that premium scale.
Yeah, and I think it also depends on what you're targeting, as in like Made of More, maybe targeting the menopause or that.
And this, like, I mean, the skin place is literally, it is completely saturated. But at the end of the day, there is always room for something. Like, I know if I was tomorrow to turn around to say certain stores, listen, I have Biome. They would clear a shelf for me. So there is always room for something. But it needs to be, they deliver it. Like for me at the moment, I know neck creams. People are going absolutely crazy. And you can see it in Trini's accelerator, right? Yeah. So there's nearly, and this is like, I like saying at the moment, what price is youth? So if there is a product and if it was €100, but if I believed it worked and the customer believed it worked, it could just be a tenner. If people with the belief behind it, you would sell it just as quick. From the retail, logistically, there would be a worry about putting that price, that higher price point out on the floor. So this is where the logistics come into it as well. Right. There would be a worry about putting, so if you go into most of the pharmacies, if they have fragrance or anything around the high value, they're usually behind a counter. Yeah. So there's a logistic element to it of, there is a worry of pharmacies. So somebody coming in and robbing 5 products for €100, it's €500 gone out the door on the pharmacy. So you have to also think about the logistic elements of it. How is it displayed in the store? How will the shop worry about theft and things like that? So you do have to look at that as well.
Yeah. And would you have, maybe you can follow up, but maybe about customs, because you have brands obviously that ship stock into you all the time from the UK.
Yeah, I know that we have to give them an EROI number, and that seems to solve the problem of getting the products through.
Yeah. Yeah. So
we give them our EROI order number. And they list that whatever they do, and that seems to ease the pathway of products coming through.
Yeah, and I know some of the UK brands have products in Northern Ireland, and there's a fulfillment in Northern Ireland, and they ship all over Europe for you. So you can just, if you're in the UK, you can just have your stuff there, and they'll do.
We take product all the time from the UK, so it's because of obviously the issues of things. So product comes in and out, moves every day between the UK and Ireland. So once it's set up and the process is there, it's fine. But the most problems seem to be on the initial samples, but it's the ERI number that gets that through.
And we have a question from Anne, and she says, what kind of trends are big in skincare and makeup at the moment that you're seeing? And am I right in saying most chemists are selling products sitting between prestige and masstige?
Yeah. So what we're seeing very much at the moment, and this kind of a new movement that we're seeing, is this, what we were saying, where people are looking at their beauty products, but the beauty products almost have an element of wellness about them as well, and that people are eating their beauty. So this is where we're seeing this, the edible collagen, all the things like that, like a Nutri, I suppose. If I was from the think of a brand comes straight to mind at the moment, the Irish brand Nutri. So they have a topical solution for your skin and hair, but they also have a supplement solution. So we're seeing a lot more brands that are bringing these two, topical and supplement, together, rather than the vitamins sit over on the vitamin space and the skin sits on the skin space. They are bringing the literally beauty from inside and out. So that's a growing trend that we're seeing at the moment. Then we're seeing there's been a lot of different moisturizers on the market, different serums, and there is a little bit of serum tiredness at the moment. But what we are seeing the growth is in the specific area treatment. So again, neck. There's people screaming at me all day, do you have a great neck? Like a neck cream? Do you have a great lip cream? Do you have a great eye cream? So the different areas of, if you had a product within those different areas, that's definitely something that we've seen. Lips has had a phenomenal, since the start of the year, we have seen lip care sales, whether it be tinted, colored, Hailey Bieber type, but lip has been a big front player. Collagen is definitely still there, and all the different formats that collagen can be delivered in.
Yeah.
It's definitely still a big winner. So I'm seeing it a little bit more tailored rather than generic, here's a moisturizer.
Yeah.
You're definitely seeing it in more tailored, either in ingredients or in the treatment, like what area is in.
Yeah. And the other question was the products and the chemists sit between the prestige and the masstige.
So prestige is more of the higher brands. Masstige is everything down to like your Garnier and L'Oreal skincare. What we are seeing is, because so many of the supermarket brands probably lean heavily into the L'Oreals and the Garniers, that the pharmacies are a little bit more open to products that are coming to them. They'll say, no, listen, we're going to be pharmacy only.
Okay.
It's because that gives them the point of difference. So if they're in a shopping centre and the Tesco's across the road, that means that they're not looking with the same skincare range. They can have something different to offer. So they are looking for products that are a little bit more pharmacy only.
Yeah. And a question from Abood. I wonder what would Uniphar's business partner view startup local companies, that haven't launched their products to the market yet? It's nice to be a partner for big companies, but what about the startups? And I think Jackie is a startup champion, really.
We have worked with, like, actually on the books, we have Sadie Secrets that we've just brought to market, a complete startup company. We just actually, Jill has hairdressers in Avoca. I was in there one day and I happened to notice that there was a brow product that was selling in Avoca, and it was simply because she walked upstairs in the salon that the Avoca store downstairs took her product. And I said, oh, I think there's a place for that into market. And we took that product and we've worked with her and we've launched that product, I think, into over 150 stores in Ireland this summer. And again, in McCauley's, we would have done that time and time again. So we have, but at the same time, the brand has to be still ready. So you still have to make sure that your packaging is working, your product is working, you have a full asset bank, you're aware of what it takes to get into retail, but we work with small brands all the time.
Great, thank you. And what should a brand have in place operationally before approaching retail partners, like logistics and all that? Should they have all of that in place?
Yeah, so what you want is here, when you drop the product at our door here, that all you want is my warehouse team pick up that box and put it to where it goes, right? So you need to have logistically everything done, that when that box lands here, that there's no work has to be done on the product in my warehouse. You don't want me ringing me up saying, we've opened this product and the barcodes don't scan, the product is leaking, you guys are delivering to me in singles. We have set it up in cases of 6, and we talked about this. So logistically, you want to have as much done, because every time somebody touches your product, it's going to cost you money after you thought about it.
Yes.
So when you deliver to our door, have every possible thing that needs to be done to a product done before it gets to your distributor's door, because your distributor will either send it back to you or do it and charge you for the work. So especially, there's I think a lot of people here using 3PLs to, repack their project when it comes in from the manufacturer. So make sure you have a fully understanding what your distributor needs before you tell your repacker to do something, because otherwise it just keeps costing you money, and that eats into your profit all the time.
Yeah. Naked Glow. Hey Jackie, if you have 10 plus SKUs, can you go to a retailer with just 2 or 3 SKUs first?
You can. What the retailer will do, any retailer will worth their salt will look to see, are you giving them the 3 best SKUs, or have you kept the best SKUs for yourself and just given them 3 other SKUs? So you don't want to be very clear on the reason why you're giving them those 3 SKUs. They can be quite happy just to start with 3 SKUs. Sometimes that's not a problem if they're the 3 best performance SKUs, and they'll open up on the range as it gets better. So that's a possibility. But again, it's like everything. The reason why you're doing it, you need to have that airtight, but it is very, very possible. But I would say make sure that it's not obvious that you are saying, well, these are the 3 poorest performance SKUs, I'm keeping the good ones for myself, because that won't wash with anybody.
Great. And then
what I would say to you, one thing I would say to you as well, if you have your own online business at the moment and you're selling direct to consumer, and this is where we see a fall down all the time, be very aware the retailer will come and say to me, I'm trying to sell your product, and this month I see you have your product on your website at 25% off. So if you're trying to sell on your own e-com site and as well as retail, you need to make sure that the offers complement each other, that you're not going to have the retailer saying to you, well, what's the point of me trying to sell your product when you keep undercutting us on your own website all the time? So you need to make sure the 2 of those are aligned. That is a really, really big thing when you're selling off your own website. You cannot keep being cheaper than the retailer that you're trying to sell it out of. So you need to work out a way that you have different offers going on, different type of value promotions, but one doesn't clash with the other.
Yeah. And Sunil is asking, do you ever accept a 1 product SKU businesses in branded aluminium tins, no boxes?
I don't know. You'd have to see it. Do we accept 1 product? Yeah, a prime example would be Sasta.
Yeah.
Right. So that's 1 product that's absolutely doing a stormer in the market. But at the same time, the more product you have, the more shelf space you have, the more easy it is to see your brand. But yes, we do accept 1 products all the time. Say the Secrets is 1 product. Sasta is 1 product. We have a lot of brands that do start off with 1 product. But again, in the tin, I don't know. I'd have to see what it is, what it looks like. But yes, we have worked with brands that have had that launch on single SKUs. Now, I do push them very quickly, going, "Where's your MPD?" Because you want to build up on that momentum. But yes, brands do launch with a single SKU.
Great. Do you prefer products made in Ireland, or are you happy buy products made elsewhere?
We buy products from everywhere.
Yeah.
We buy product. Obviously, we champion Irish because we were here, and why wouldn't we? But no, we have Dutch products. We have an American dental product that we work really close to a brand from America that has a dental products. We have English products. We have Australian products. So it's all dependent on the product, the story, and what the brand has to offer.
All right. And actually, Sunil came back and said she loves me too, but it was a different brand that she's talking about, not her own silk brand. So that's interesting. I'd be interested myself. And Sarah has asked, can you please share a rough cost estimate that a new startup brand should expect to have ready to fund their first time retail distribution with a partner like Uniphar? Are there stocking fees, distribution fees? Point to like what?
So what I would say to the very basic things you're looking at, obviously there's a distribution fee. That's a very basic thing. There's a distribution fee because we obviously have to truck your product over 1,900 for many doors. So there's a basic distribution fee. And then on top of that, the fee, you have a fee that's directly linked to the distributor for the work they do. And then you would have a fee for if you have to produce POS for stores. That's not my fee. The distributor doesn't earn money off of that. That's literally a fee that you would have with a printing company to say, well, I want my product to go in with a little A5 store. I'd like it to have a wobbler. I'd like it to have shelf strips. You need to go, what I'd say to any brand is go into pharmacies and see how other brands retail. Like go in, see it and say, I really, really like that. And if you want to do it, it's very simple. Take a picture of it. Go to a printing agency and find, if I want my brand to look like this in stores, what does it cost me? But that's your cost. We may facilitate it and make sure once you print it, we'll deliver it out to all the stores, but that's your cost. So there is definitely a distribution fee. You're talking quite truthfully up to about 30% if you're looking at a full partnership distribution, whereas you are sitting there and you want the benefit of a sales team, you want the benefit of a marketing team giving you advice, you want the benefit of where you have a key account manager that speaks to all the different big key accounts, all the retail in the country, and you have a brand account manager here who on the day daily looks after your brand, constantly looking for opportunities to present your brand in front of people, prepared in decks, giving you sales updates. So there's a huge body of work, but you're talking about, if you're looking for a full-on partnership, it's about 30%. If you're a brand where you were coming and you already had an established, you're coming to us and said, listen, I have 100 retailers already signed up looking to take this brand. All I want you to do is to take the brand in the back door and deliver out to those stores. So basically we don't really touch it. We just facilitate it being delivered. It's about 15%. So it's two different, depending on the degree of help that you need to launch your brand.
Brilliant. Jackie, I didn't even get to most of the questions. I'm just taking the questions of the people that are here, and we're nearly finished. Yeah. Our hour's nearly up, but I'll try and get through the rest of the questions. Does pharmacies still take FD-SUS? And also, would you recommend retail stores or pharmacies for skincare brands?
So yes, they do take FSDUs, and if anybody doesn't know, freestanding display unit, that's what that means. But what you'd have to do is, because if you imagine in pharmacy, they have everything from VMS to sun care to skin care to hair care. You have all these brands trying to get FSDUs in at the same time. So you have to work well in advance with the different retailers to plan them in. And 9 times out of 10 now, they're starting to charge for you to place an FSDU. So this is another one of these things that so not only do you have to pay to print your FSDUs and get them made, you probably have to pay somebody to fulfill those FSDUs for you. Most of the big retailers, and by that I mean the ones that have probably groups of 10 or more stores, they will be looking for you what they would call a JBP, which is a joint business plan, where you would say, okay, I want to put an FSD into 20 euro stores twice a year, and they charge you a rate.
Okay.
So we're seeing that more and more because there's so many people trying to get in. The retailers are now have kind of made a business of it, saying, okay, if you want a placement, it costs you to get your FSDU. They do take them, but it's a very, L'Oreal groups and things, they come in and pay 10, 15 grand a year to hold them spaces. So it's a competitive market for FSDUs. But what I've always seen with retailer, really good FSDU, something that surprises and delights, they make room for.
Yeah. Where do you see retail in 5 years? And that's from Esther.
I think I'm not quite sure. Do you mean versus online shopping, or retail is always going to be there? People now have turned shopping into a pastime because, and I actually think online shopping has helped with that. People get so fed up with seeing things online, they actually like to go in. What we are seeing more and more in pharmacies is the educational piece is key. It's more about not just being on shelf, it's what you bring to stay there. So especially in pharmacies, the educational piece is key. I think in-store activations will be key to really, really driving people to come more and more into store. Personalization is huge. So retail 100% still has a place. Retail will evolve though. And obviously AI will make a huge difference to in-store retail as well.
Yeah. Yeah, just experimental, but people still want to see new products, touch new products, and feel new products.
If you go into Zara every day, there's a key thing of retail still working. Zara have a fantastic online site. They send out, I think, emails twice a week. They have a great site for browsing. Have you ever gone into an empty Zara store?
Yeah, so
absolutely. People still want to get in there and shop.
What's the one thing, well, actually, have you ever, or here we go, how long have you, do you give a brand, like before you let them go from your portfolio, and why? Like how does that happen?
Ideally, I'd like to give around 18 months.
Okay.
Right? So 6 months always settle it in, but sometimes it's not always. And you could have a retailer. In retail, they do what they call planogram refreshes. Okay, so usually between every 12 and 18 months, they sit down and look at their 4 shelves, and the 4 shelves is usually called a meter. So they'll go through every section. I'm just going to take skin, for instance. So about every 18 months, they'll do a look at their meters in skincare and see, are all the brands that are on those shelves earning their keep? And brands that fall below a threshold, say in the last year, have only given them €600 in sales or something like that, they tend to cut and say, okay, we're going to move them out and we'll look for new products. So if they move them out in the retail, obviously that affects us as a distributor because I've nowhere to send them to now. So there's a natural cull where if the brand hasn't performed, that happens. But other than that, I like to give somebody about 18 months of working with them. The 4 to 6 months, everybody's just trying to figure out what everybody's doing, find a pattern. The next 6 months, you're building up a bit of a volume. But for the next 6 months after that, you should be on a really good, it's in and repeat, in and repeat, in and repeat.
All right, brilliant. And we're actually at 14:59. I know we still had loads more questions. We might have to have a part 2, Jackie, to answer the rest of the questions. But we had a lovely, we've one. I don't know. So I think we might have. Do we have one more question that I can take? Oh, Shauna, not a question, but love to talk. Would love more informative talks. Agree with Esther, Jackie and Wendy, pure gold. Thank you. Kira Howard, what annual sales would you expect from a hair care brand? We're going to stick a few more quick
All right.
questions.
So if it can be like, what I would say to you is that's a hard question because in the competitive space, you're going to be measured by about somebody who's already working. And that's the truth of it. So depending on the type of brand, to be worth you spending 30% of your distribution money with us or with any other distributor in a partnership, you would want to be making 200,000 a year for it really to be worth your while. And I know that sounds huge, but to be really worth your while of spending like 30% of your hard-earned money. Like they would be looking that you for to aid that. And that's because we work with so many brands probably that are in that space. That's on a full agency partnership. There are other degrees of it. It's not quite 30% that we're able to help you on things like that, and you can move down on. But look, we have started. Obviously, if you look at Sasted, they didn't start on that money. Neither did Sadie's. But you were sitting down with them, and we knew by a certain point we expected them to be. So it's not about where you are today. If we can sit down with you and say, okay, we believe in 18 months,
that's right,
we can bring your brand to here.
Yep.
Then it's worthwhile. It's all working with you. And I don't mean you're making 200K on the day.
Yeah.
But at least within 18 months, we know that we're at that type of space with you.
Yeah. Well, listen, I'm going to leave it there. I just thank you very much for everyone who showed up. Thank you for all the great questions. And we will put the recording out. So if anyone wants to rewatch or listen to anything that Jackie has said, and we will definitely be running some more useful webinars for brands that we know have all the questions, and sharing the answers with the likes of Jackie. Thank you for your time today.
Hope it was useful.
All right, guys. Thanks a million.
Bye.